Well, good evening, Track Gang, and welcome to Sidetrack Sunday number 4 for the month of July 2025. I'm Ray. Welcome to the Nut House. That's all I've got to say. Welcome to the Nut House. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my goodness, and I'm being picked on over in the chat already, and that's just fine. Any rate, yes, I am streaming from the new PC. I absolutely am. Let me get back over to here, and somebody. There we go. I am streaming from the new PC. I will. We will touch on that in a bit, Bob. You're getting ahead of me, bud. You're getting ahead of me. I don't know why this thing has got both of the. Well, that's okay. It doesn't matter. But for whatever reason, OBS is showing that I've got two microphones going, and I don't. I've got one. It just goes along with the rest of the garbage that I've put up with earlier this afternoon. Like I said, I will get into all that in a bit, but we'll go ahead and we'll start off with the normal pleasantries because I do have some topics that I do want to touch on. So, let's go over here to the participants list and see who we've got hanging out with us tonight. As soon as it decides it wants to play nicely. We've got Opa Dodge in the house from the Model Train Outsider. We've got JP from the Beaumont Hills subdivision. We've got, as soon as I figure out, because I always goof this up, and I'm not going to goof it up tonight. We've got Dave over at Caboose 1973 Channel 1. All right, we've got Chuck Schreiber. We've got Dave over at DB Tech. We've got JD over at Grandpa Rails. We've got Ed over at Happy Valley Hobbies. We've got Mr. Joe Rader over at Black Rock Central. We've got Mr. Dwight Curley over at the Curley Express. We've got Bob over at PK&W Model Works. We've got Ray number 2, or actually Ray number 3. I don't know. Ray Bertelson is in the house. Then there's me, and I'm still not sure if I'm 100% here. But we'll go with it. We got Mr. Ron Moen in the house. We've got Russ over at the Rockin' O and HO Scale Trains and Stuff. We've got Mr. Santa Fe Bob in the house. We've got John number 2 over at the Schuylkill River Valley. We've got Steve over at Steve 87 PSAP. And we've got, we've got Chris over at Valley's 56 XX. Welcome in, everybody. And if I didn't call you out, it's because you haven't chatted in the chat yet. So I don't know that you're here. Sorry. And with that being said, I am going to drop the YouTube side of this and just go over to StreamYard itself. And there's Mr. Dwayne from Dwayne's Fork and Spoon. Welcome in. And, of course, there's a freight train going by Bob's place. Hey, Dave, over at Sparky 107 107. Thanks, Dave. Ay. Uh-oh. What you got going on over there? What you got going on, Chris? I think that's Chris. No, that's not Chris. I've already screwed things up. See that? That's Dave. What you got going on there, Dave, over at the Caboose 1973? Are you only 6? Yeah, pretty much. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like, Ed. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, of course, I should have left the YouTube thing up because I Nah, that's okay. My brain is just, of course, my brain's never straight to begin with, but that's beside the point. And even if it was, it wouldn't be. Give me just a second here because, all right, that's what I wanted to touch on first. So we'll go ahead and we'll get into that once what happened to, there it is. Ay, ay, ay. Really, Ray? Come on, get your life together. Hey, Tom Grassi's in the house. Welcome in, Tom. Let's see. Who else? Did anybody else sneak in while I was sitting here trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about first? I don't think so. Oh, actually, JJ over at the Great Northern is in the house. Welcome in. Let's see. That's right. We were still waiting for Dave over at Caboose 1973 to tell us what his news was. Hey, James over at the Dundas Junction. Welcome in. Let's see here. And I'm going to just scrolling back through the chat because I got dropped. Kind of dropped things. Oh, cool. That's what he wanted to tell us. There we go. There we go. Okay. I think I saw Mr. Almar is here. Welcome in. And Ken's Back Shop is in the house. Welcome in. All right. So, the first thing that I want to touch on tonight is actually some big news locally. I did post it to my to the railroad's Facebook page the other day, but and I'm going to go ahead and try and do a screen share. Oh my goodness, yeah, this ought to be good. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and do a share screen, and we'll do window, and we'll go over here and do the share. Hey, look at that. JJ says his layout often runs like a racehorse ready for the glue factory. I can relate. We're actually going to tempt fate here later on with mine. We're going to see what's going to happen. But any rate, so what I've posted to the screen is something that is like I said, real close by to me down here. And I know we've talked about it in the past when I've done the meet and greets. Of course, we've never gotten a chance to get down to see this place. But the Baltimore Streetcar Museum and the city of Baltimore have entered into an agreement that they are going to take over the Roundhouse that belonged to the former Maryland and Pennsylvania Railroad, which is on the right side of this picture. There's also a bridge from the former Maryland and Pennsylvania Railroad that has been sitting down there that has weeds and things growing through it at the moment, but they're planning on bringing that over as well. This project, they've been talking about it for a couple of years now. To be perfectly honest, there was a lot of talk that it wasn't going to happen. The thing of it is the Maryland and Pennsylvania Roundhouse has been used by the city of Baltimore to store salt for the roads, for the wintertime. And if anybody's familiar with how corrosive rock salt is, and considering the fact that the inner structure of that roundhouse is basically pretty much steel, a lot of it is in not so great shape. The last time that I was actually down there, when I did the Motorman for a Day, I was talking to Chris McNally, and I'm not sure if he's actually in here tonight. He's my contact down there. Any rate, I should sign up and help them to do the Roundhouse and bridge work. Thanks, Steve. That was, oh my gosh, that was great. That was right on time there, buddy. Oh man. Any rate, him and I were talking about it, that the fact that they had their legal team working with, the team from Baltimore City, trying to acquire it, trying to see what they could work out. And one of the other things, beside the fact that the city has used it as their salt dome, for lack of a better term, their salt trucks were going across the streetcar tracks and really ripping them up. There is a driveway right there that's just off screen that you can't, in this rendering you don't see. The road that's right there in front where the buses are coming out and all that runs next to the tracks, that's Falls Road. At any rate, this is just the start, and I just saw something that somebody had put in here about it doesn't seem like 165K is a lot. You're right, it's not. However, the Maryland and Pennsylvania Roundhouse structure, there has been plans, if I'm not mistaken, to get that on the historical registry. And if that were to happen, not only would Baltimore City be giving them funds, but then funds would be coming from grants from elsewhere to help build this up and get it to where they want. Now, from what I understand, the Railroad Museum does a really good job financially. I mean, they're a nonprofit, so they're not supposed to have a whole lot of, a whole lot of leftover money per se, but for something like this, it would definitely be a boon for them. Dave, I plan on, see, here's the problem. Let me back up a second, because Dave, Sparky brings up a wonderful point. I wanted to do the Streetcar Museum like 2 or 3 years ago. And the problem is the fact that the last couple of years, Rachel's organization has had their crab feast the same weekend as the train show in Timonium. And because of the fact that the train show in Timonium for me is such a big deal for doing the meet and greet, that's a really neat place to go. There's a lot to see. And then, of course, everybody coming back to the house after the fact. And because of the fact that crab feast was on Sundays, well, that just killed Sunday for me being able to do anything else. So the thing is this year, the crab feast is not the same weekend as the train show, number one. And number two, it's on a Saturday night. So the crab feast is now on like the 12th, I think it is, of October. And the train show is the 25th. So we're going to be, I'm going to have some extra time, and I think I'm going to talk to Chris and see about the possibilities of us having or being able to get down to the Streetcar Museum in October to do just a walkthrough, what have you. I love Dave. I love doing the train show, though. I really do. Sparky, I really, really do love doing the train show. And I mean, I know that a lot of folks that have come up before have been there, so on and so forth. That's fine, but yeah, no, I'm going to, like I said, I've got connections with the Baltimore Streetcar Museum. I'm going to talk to them and see what the possibilities are of maybe getting down there on a Sunday. Because the other thing of it is, too, the Streetcar Museum is not open both days in the fall on the weekends. It's usually only open on Sundays. So, yeah, I know you've set up a few meet and greets there, Sparky. So anyway, that to me, this was absolutely huge in a couple of different ways as well. Number one, it's just big for the area because there's going to be as I talked about when I did the Motorman for a Day down there last year, this is living history. And unfortunately, places like this are going to be going by the wayside. Number one, if they can't get volunteers, if they can't get money, number two, and if the younger generation doesn't start understanding that's how we got here. And that's what they need. They need that influx. They've had, so far this year, unfortunately, they've had 2 people pass away from the Streetcar Museum board of directors. And it's really, really tough. Hey, Jason over at the Colonel Cotton Belt, welcome in. So anyway, it just, to me, this is a big thing. This is a big deal because of the fact that, number one, it's a big deal for the Baltimore Streetcar Museum. It's a big deal for the Maryland and Pennsylvania, or what's left of the Maryland and Pennsylvania Railroad. And it's just going to be a good thing all the way around. So that's the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about. And like I said, I do plan on seeing what the possibilities are of getting down there during our meet and greet in October. So since that's been floating around now, the second thing I wanted to talk about was the streaming PC, but we'll move that to number 4. So we'll go in and we'll talk about the Great Scale Model Train Show coming up in October. Obviously, and that was nice. That did not work. There you go, dum. I'm not sure what I just did here, but I just goofed myself up something fierce. There we go. Holy cow. Alrighty. Jack's going to be coming in October along with JD. Oh my gosh. Wonderful. Nice. I can't wait. I don't know if I'll have to talk to Chris. To see what's going on, to see what the possibilities are of getting something together down there. Anyway, the Great Scale Model Train Show. Hey, Rail Artist, welcome in. Yeah, I know about the wonderful weather. We've had that running through here too, Mike, and yeah, it has not been pretty. I'm hoping that the storms have passed us for now, and I get the chance to finish the stream off. However, if I disappear, you know why. It's because Dave came up here and pulled the power. Oh, man. Anyway, I went into the Conrail switcher. Make it number 1. Oh boy. Sparky. What are we going to do with you? Anyway, the Great Scale Model Train Show. Hey, Mike Schuster, welcome in, sir. Long time no see. So the great... I'm going to get the right one. I have to dream, so dream big. There you go. Yep, absolutely. Any rate, so the Great Scale Model Train Show, which happens every October. This year it's happening a little bit later. It's actually on the October 25th and 26th. I do plan on having a meet and greet. Obviously, we've already basically talked about this. It's already starting the planning after the other one ends. But October 25th, we will meet at the train show at the Timonium Fairgrounds. It'll be, as I've always put it, hey, Life with Roscoe, welcome in. Sounds great, man. Would love to see y'all. At the train show, when you come through the front entrance of the building, you're in what they call the Central Hall. In the back right corner there's a there is a garage door, and that is usually where we meet. It'll be next to the concession stand that they have back there on that right-hand side. That's normally where we meet, either in that portal in the central hall or off in the north hall, which is normally where all the modular layouts are. So, obviously we'll meet up there. I'm figuring somewhere around 11:30-ish. And then after that, go ahead and enjoy the show. We'll hang out for a bit there. I'll probably end up leaving at about 2:30-ish. I'll come back to the house here and start getting things set up for everybody to come back here and hang out for a couple of hours and actually see the B&N. I am probably going to do the same thing I did last year, and that is order in. It just goes a lot easier. I will be probably in August putting in a Google form to find out who all would possibly be interested in coming back, or who all is going to plan on at least be at the show. And that way, I get an idea as to who all is coming. And no, Ed, not this year. The Crab Feast is not, the Crab Feast is actually happening 2 weeks prior. And it's on a Saturday instead of a Sunday. So, but at any rate, I think did I see somebody else pop in here? There was somebody, no, I know what it was. There was somebody else said that they're planning on, Dwayne's Fork and Spoon is planning on making it down here. Great, Dwayne. Love to catch up with you. Anybody else? Obviously. Everybody is more than welcome. And that is the other thing, too, is the fact that Joe Rader's house is not that far away. So, in theory, what we could do, and Joe, you and I can talk about this, you and I can talk about this offline, but maybe what we could do is, we do the train show until like 2, and then folks could go ahead and swing over to your place and then come back and swing over here. It's up to you. Like I said, you and I can talk about that, work out the logistics, and see how things are going. Yeah, I know it is, Jason, and we've talked about that for years, my friend. I know. Loved, like I said, I've told everybody this before. If you're ever down this way in Maryland, anywhere close to Baltimore County, Baltimore City, if you're going to be in the area, give me a little bit of a heads up. And I will try to make every possible effort to make sure that I'm here and that the railroad is ready to go. So, we'll see. Randall Ellison is in the house. Welcome in. Let's see. Chuck, what is this? Last month you were looking to glue bond rails. Tesla uses glue to bond Cybertruck parts. Might want to check it out. Yeah, I'll have to do that. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. But I actually did get the rails glued onto the turntable, and I did get the turntable reinstalled. I talked about that on Friday. I realize, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing here for a minute. But I do realize that the Friday video that was up was a bit short, and there wasn't a whole lot that was going on. Obviously, this past week, we were doing a lot of prep for my wife's family coming in from overseas, coming in from Germany. That happens to be her, I guess, for lack of a better term, her great nephew and his girlfriend. So they've been here. They came in to the train station Friday evening. And they've been here, they haven't been with us. They're actually staying with my mother-in-law. But they were here last night or yesterday afternoon for a get-together with the whole family. They were out with my daughter and her boyfriend. And, so they are just enjoying it right now and hanging out and so on and so forth. But, yeah. So, this past week was a little bit tired, just trying to get everything prepped up for when they got here. Of course, the other thing is, and I did mention it in the video, and for those that may not have seen the Friday video, I may go ahead and explain some of the other things that have been going on. The biggest one is we no longer have Mr. Nash, the puppy dog. Basically, what ended up happening was that him and my other dog, Emma, who is sleeping down here underneath the table. I don't know if you can. Yeah, there she is. They were not getting along. After we had issues with him going after me, my wife, and my daughter, he would not leave her alone. And we talked to the rescue that was down in Texas. They worked at a thing with a place called Doggy Daycare. Not Doggy Daycare. It is a Doggy Daycare, but now I can't remember the name of the place. Dogtopia. They worked out a deal with Dogtopia, and he went there on a Friday. He came back home. Things seemed to be fine. Saturday, he started getting wound up again, and it just wasn't good. So Sunday, we took him back over and asked him, look, there was something that you guys that was being set up with the rescue from Texas for you to keep him overnight. Is that still on the table? And they said, let us get back to you. Within 2 hours, they were back in touch with us and said, no problem, that it would be fine. And then later that evening, we get a text message from the rescue in Texas that the fellow that had been basically assigned to Nash became best friends. And he put in papers to adopt Nash. So thankfully, we haven't heard any more. As far as we know, Nash has been adopted locally, and he's doing just fine. So, like I said, the thing is, Jason, we finally got him to a point where he wasn't going after us, but the fact that he just would not, and Emma told him off more than once. I mean, and I'm not just talking just a little bit of a bark or something like that. No, she was showing teeth, growling the whole 9 yards. And, it was just, it just wasn't good. So, there was just no way he could stay here. So, it was a shame. We tried. It was just too big of an age gap and too much of a personality conflict. The problem is, Steve, we went from what we were able to determine, he may have been somewhere between 9 months to a year and a half. And even the rescue really didn't know his full story. But the thing of it is what we did find out in the end was that he had basically been on the run since he was a puppy, and then bounced from rescue to foster to rescue to foster to rescue. And that's no good either. So, it was a darn shame because he was smart. There was no question he had intelligence. He was definitely trainable. He just, he was another just so everybody, he was a border collie. And we think he was some sort of a shepherd mix. They don't know exactly what shepherd, but he was extremely intelligent. Just, he just couldn't get it through his thick skull that Emma didn't want to play. So, but at any rate, at least from what we know, that was a happy ending. He's going to be a single dog he'll be an only dog in a house. And then he's going to be able to go over to this Dogtopia thing with the fellow that adopted him and be able to play around with other dogs that are the same age as him. And anyway, so that's a good thing. But at any rate, So, let's see here. Where am I? Okay, the new streaming PC. Let's go ahead and do something that I haven't done in here in a long time. Let's go ahead and do this and see if this is going to play nice. All right. I know I saw one train leave. Ah, here comes the other one. Okay. Not sure if it was on camera or not. That has been the problem, or was the problem earlier this afternoon. I had to mess with these cameras. And what I found out is it wasn't so much of a camera issue. It was more or less a USB powering problem. What I ended up having to do was actually move my powered hub back here close to the computer, and then I've got two powered USB lines that are going to the two cameras currently on the layout. I'm not sure why I was having so many problems with it this afternoon, but it was not happy. All right, so they just passed each other at the bridge. Well, let's see if the camera underneath or over at the Richmond Yard actually picks up. Well, first off, I got to make sure that this train actually gets through the S's. All right, so far so good. That sounds good. That one on the inner loop, for whatever reason, has been having issues since yesterday. About every fifth or sixth time through, it decides to jump the tracks. But we'll see if it shows up on the camera. Hey, look at that. It's on the right-hand camera. Cool deal. Hey! Yeah. So anyway, as you can see, we've got multiple cameras. Now, I think I brought it up on the test stream that I did last week, and that is the fact that for whatever reason, the motherboard only supports up to 3 cameras. So I've got 2 on the layout and 1 on my ugly mug. So, it is what it is at the moment. Considering the fact that I've got some sort of USB powering problem that I'm going to have to figure out at some point. If I decide to go ahead and put 2 other cameras up there, I'm going to have to figure out how to run that, because I can't run a line over and then have it split. So like I said, I'm going to have to play around with that one. This is probably something that Opa Dodge doesn't have to mess with, and that's the fact that the camera or the computer is basically 30 feet away from where the cameras are. Oh man, any rate. So this is cool. We get to see trades run. And like I said, I do want to put 2 more cameras in, but that's going to require some other manipulation, and I'm not there yet. Hey, Chattanooga Southern, welcome in, Ian. Long time no see. I have yet to finish watching the video that you put up the other day. Hey, Frank, welcome in. Long time no see, sir. I got to keep an ear on this too, because one of these wants to, I think it's the northbound, likes to pick up speed. Turning back down. This is nice. I can turn around. I can play around with the throttles and watch the trains. And hey, there we go. Woohoo! So yeah, thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. It does look good on camera. There's no question. 25 and 30-foot USB extension cables. That's what I've got. I've got a 30-foot powered, and I think the other one's a 20-foot powered. And the problem is I was originally running the 30-foot powered to a powered hub, and then from the powered hub was going directly to the camera that's over top of Beauville facing north. And the other one was on a 20-foot cable that was on the north end of the layout over here. That one there, I think, is also a powered cable. So you had a powered cable feeding a powered hub, feeding another powered cable. And I think that's where my problem is. I have to probably get away from the powered cable after the powered hub. I don't know. Like I said, going to the powered hub first, everything seems fine. If I did it the other way, it was really choppy, and really it was not working. I would hook up one camera, it was fine. Hook up the second camera, and it would start wigging out. So, get camera mixers. Plug 5 USB cameras into that, and the singles to one camera. The push of a button. Computer only sees one USB camera. I'll have to look into that, Dave. Have you tried USB to Cat 5? No, I didn't think about that, Dave. Let's see here. Tricky combination of the motherboard being able to handle all the info. And that's exactly what I ran into. Is the fact that the motherboard is not able to handle more than 3 cameras on the motherboard. There's 9 USB ports on this thing, and they are split up, but it's a limitation of the board itself. Now, I can get an extension board put in here, a PCIe card that will give me 2 more USB ports, and those I can go ahead and run over. I can use that to run over to the layout. And I can use 4 cameras at that point. But, right now, sorry, I'm trying to listen. It sounds like I've got a train that's missing. I know I just saw one go across the screen. That was the one on the inner loop, or the outer loop, rather. I think I do have a train stop somewhere. Give me a second here, folks. That's what I thought. My 19-degree crossing, for some reason, is that the one locomotive, the inner loop, it doesn't like it. And if you slow it down too much, it gets stuck, and that's where it was. Are you melting locos and cars? No, I'm not. It just got it got stuck on a bad piece of, well, I wouldn't call it a bad piece of track. I think it's just that the locomotive, for whatever reason, it doesn't like the 119-degree crossing I've got. And it's the only locomotive that I have that has a problem with that one. So we'll go from there. Well, this is nice. Too bad it's right over my shoulder, but the 2 trains are passing each other in the S's. Anyway, take it easy, Jason. So that's the thing. I mean, I've been watching the hardware, and this thing, I'm running 3 cameras. I was doing it the other week, or the last week. I did a screen share, and I mean, I've still got stuff running in the background too, and this thing is just no problem whatsoever. None. Knock on wood. When you're sitting here looking at the fact that it's, I'm trying to see if I can figure out whether it's, what it's doing for, of course, I've got that. No, I don't actually have that on here. Hold on a second. I got to go over here. Right now, I'm sitting at about 10% on the CPU and 29% of the memory. So that's pretty daggone good. And this thing is it's still running quiet. My layout, Roscoe, is 34 feet. So basically from on the left-hand side, that camera looking towards or looking up the layout, from that point, it's about 31 and a half feet. And it's actually 8 feet wide. It's a fairly large layout. The backdrop divides the visible portion from the non-visible portion. So, you know, it's a big layout. It's the largest one I've ever built. So, let's see. This is only indirectly about the streaming PC. I expect the technical discussion of building the beast. Do you know, to be honest, Bob, it really wasn't that bad. You know, this is probably only the second computer that I've ever built. The last one that I actually quote unquote built was my old XPS 710 720. So that one there, I had Dell build it for me, but then I had to go back and rebuild it. So the technology these days has really changed. The case that this thing sits in, and I'm going to go ahead and do something I shouldn't because I don't have any other cameras, but this thing, and of course you're going to get shine off the glass that's on the side. This is a fractal computer case. And what it is the side that you see, this is basically the brain trust right here. This is your CPU fans, your GPU, the RAM is over here on the side that you can't see. And on the back side of this is where all the cabling sits, and it also happens to be where the two hard drives sit. I've got a 500 gig SATA SSD and a 2 terabyte SSD sitting back there. And yeah, I mean, it's great because it used to be in the old, back in the day, you know, you had the motherboard, all the cabling, the hard drives, everything else was all right there. It was all on top, and trying to figure out cable management with trying to get airflow through there was ridiculous. This has a great cable management system. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Basically, what you're doing is you're taking the cables from the motherboard and whatever else, and you're literally looping them through holes in the case to the other side. So it's wonderful. You know, everybody was telling me, oh, cable management is going to be the hardest part of this thing. And believe it or not, they were right. Even with having that space on the other side, and it's a good, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 inches. No, it's probably closer to 3 inches. You know, where you've got all the cables and stuff sitting. And also, by the way, the power supply sits in the bottom. So it's not even in the way. So that just made things so much easier. And absolutely, yeah, absolutely. The amount of space that the SSDs take up is amazing compared to the old hard drives that we had. You know, it was just ridiculous. I mean, these things take up basically no space at all. And I've got room in here. I could put another hard drive yet. I'm not there, but all right. Sparky's showing me something here. I gotta, you know, have to pardon me a second. I go ahead and get over to here to see if I can actually pull the freaking chat because it'll disappear on me. All right, let's see what we got here. Interesting. plus video mixer. Well, I see audio mixers on that link that you sent there, Sparky. I don't see video mixers. And they're all component style. I don't see anything with a USB on it. I must be missing something. There's some USB hubs at the top. But okay. I'll have to dig into that one a little bit deeper, Sparky. Anyway, turns one USB port into 5 to 7. Okay. Bob had asked a little bit ago about that black piece that's sitting on the rails. That is a re-railer. That is a Bachmann re-railer. I got them off of. I got that off of Amazon. I actually bought 2 of them. There's one for the north yard and one for the south yard, so I can go ahead and put the. It helps me get the cars onto the layout. And somebody else, and I think it may have been Bob over at PK&W, had talked about he likes the view of the underside of the underside of the staging yard here. As you all know, I just got finished putting that shelving in. I shouldn't say putting it in. Expanding the shelving, which has worked out great. So those don't work like that unless I'm doing something wrong. Okay. They all have on-off buttons like the hubs. Huh. Okay. Now, I hope we don't see blue smoke. Oh, my gosh. But anyway, yeah, so, I mean, obviously, you know, in the past, before I was using the other PC, you know, I would have to shut everything off. I'd have to reboot the computer and so on and so forth before I started doing a live stream. I didn't have to do any of that tonight. I did shut down a few things and got rid of some extra windows, but yeah. What is the track in a staging affixed to? Okay, that is shipping foam. Basically what I did is I had collected, and I've still got a closet sitting over here full of shipping foam. You know, when you get a refrigerator, when you get a new computer, so on and so forth, I was saving the foam that was coming from all that. And by doing that, I saved obviously some money because and not only that, but it's not making it to the landfill either. So, you know, it's kind of nice. I laid that, I put down obviously the plywood first, and then I put down the white foam. And then of course on the main lines outside of back in the back here, the main lines have got another layer of the foam roadbed from Woodland Scenics. And yes, I can. If you're looking at that right-hand side camera, there is a wall back there. The pictures are hanging on. It's about 2.5 feet from the wall to the hidden staging area. So you can walk around back there. You have a C910 and a C920. I've actually got right now, I believe, the cameras that I'm using, I've got a C922 pointed at me. I have the C920 on the outside of the layout, and then a Lenovo camera underneath or in the hidden staging area. So that's what I've got right now. And I've actually got another camera. But because of the fact that I was having issues, I was playing around trying to figure out which combinations of cameras were going to work the best. And I finally got something that's working. I'm like, that's it. Hands off. Stop playing with it. Stop messing with it. So, yeah, once I got it fixed, yeah, we're done. And yes, and Joe's right. You can walk around the whole layout. One of the unique things, and as we're sitting here, you know, I've got 2 trains running. That's really all I can run continuously. Because I am still DC. I am using tethered handheld throttles. This one here happens to be Power Pack B. This one here happens to right now be running the northbound, which is the inner loop. Which is this is really nice to be able to sit over here and be able to control the trains if I have to. Al, the issue is with OBS, and it's actually with the computer. If you remember years and years and years ago, if you've been around computers for any length of time, there used to be a thing that they called the IRQ, the interrupt request. And if you had 2 devices in the computer that had the same or were set to the same IRQ, they would conflict. The same thing goes with the cameras. You cannot have more than 1 camera from the same manufacturer on the same USB hub. It will not work. It will not work. I've had that problem in the past. That's the reason why the 922 is plugged into the case directly, and the 920, which is facing past the steps, that one there is on a completely different hub. So, any rate, yeah, and that's the other thing too. Even if you are using the Logitech software, it's the same problem. It doesn't know how to recognize that you have a difference between a C910 to a C920 to a C922, or to a C950 for that matter. Hey, welcome in, Derek Alexander. Welcome in, sir. So that's one of the problems that I have also, is the fact that I've got 2 Logitech cameras, and I cannot have them plugged into the same USB hub. They will not work. Anyway, let's see. Family is more important than us than something going on with, okay. All right, Rail Artist is back. All good. Hey, just like somebody else just said, families are much more important than the things that we're doing here. Trust me. Okay, now another problem. All right, Al. And that's the possibility. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Exactly. Why do I sound like I've lost a train again? Hold on. All right. Yeah, I did lose a train. Oh, you son of a gun. Okay. That's not the first time that that's happened. Oh, well. I broke a wire. We've got a slight disconnect. I gotta go ahead and put another logo on there. I'm gonna strip the wire back and put another logo in. Oh, well. So we're down to one train. Oh, man. Any rate, as I'm getting photobombed by the dog, rated USB cameras, use a COM port, and you can change the COM port to use another camera. Check your device manager. I'll have to look into that, but I don't know. I've never been able to get two of the Logitechs to play at the same time. I just haven't. Yes, they get 12 iPhones. Right. Any rate, so I'm going to go ahead and transition off of this. Go ahead and stop that one. All right. I'll have to go ahead and fix that when I'm done. Just like the prototype. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Too much like fun. Take it easy, JD. Thank you, sir. Okay, I'm going to transition out of this, and we're going to transition back to just the main cam because we're getting close to that hour mark. Any rate, there is one last thing that I want to bring up. And this one to a point really pisses me off. And that is the fact that sounds like a winner, Tom. I appreciate that, sir. There's YouTube and Google, and I'm not sure which part of it is. And yes, James, this is a rant. For whatever reason, within the last, I guess it's been 3 weeks to a month, has, for whatever reason, number one, they're no longer sending out an email when somebody replies to your video. So in other words, the video that I put up on Fridays, I used to get emails every time somebody left me a comment, which was great because that meant I needed to go in, take a look, and see who was there. Well, a few weeks back, I put up a video, and I'm like, Saturday morning, and I hadn't gotten any type of comments. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I went in, and no, I had comments. It's just the fact that they're no longer sending you notifications that you've got comments. That's problem number one. That one's okay. I can understand that one. Okay, I just have to go into the comments section, put it up in another tab, hit refresh, and see if I haven't responded to something. That's great. The problem is if I go into, let's say, like Ian or Sparky or Joe, and I leave them a comment, I never see if they comment back. So if I'm leaving somebody a comment, I'm not sure if they're ever seeing it. That's interesting, Steve, because I haven't seen an email in over almost a month. The last one I got was a month ago. And like I said, it's not only when I'm leaving somebody or when I'm leaving comments or when somebody's commenting on my video, but if I comment on somebody else's video, I'm never seeing anything back as to whether they saw it or not. I still get the bell on the top. That's the thing. I've got everybody set to full. So I don't understand why, what changed. So I mean I don't know what's going on there. I mean it's a bit ridiculous to me. I mean, how am I supposed to know if I left Sparky a message? I don't know if he ever got it because I don't know if he ever replied because I don't see it unless I go back to that video and look. So that's been one of the things that's really irked me here of late. And that's what I'm doing, Sparky, is I just look at the comments that folks are leaving me. But like I said, if I go to your channel and leave you a comment and you reply back to that comment, I don't see a reply to that. I don't see an email or any type of a notification that you ever got it. Downloaded the YouTube Studio app, and that helps with notifications. Just what I need is something else on the freaking phone to go ahead and drive me nuts. Hey, Mark, appreciate you popping in, bud. So, and I have noticed I have been seeing stuff on the YouTube Studio via the phone, but that's, like I said, I don't necessarily look at my phone all the time. I really don't. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at emails, I'm looking at emails on the computer. I never see any comments from you. See, and that's what I'm saying. That the other thing of it is, James, is I'm not even sure when people are putting videos up. I'm not even really getting video. I'm not getting notifications for that either. It just so happens I get lucky every once in a while and happen to say, oh, hey, Joe put something up. Oh, hey, Sparky put something up. I had no idea what happened with the rest of them. I really don't. So, but it's really squirrely. And I don't know if anybody else in here has caught what's been going on YouTube as well for the last couple of weeks. 30 emails to go through. One of the other things that's come up, and I know I don't think it affects any of us, but it's something to be aware of, because there are channels that I am subscribed to that I pick up every once in a while, and that is the music channels. And I'm not talking about, the bands and things like that. I'm talking about the folks that do. I know a lot of us in here remember Casey Kasem in America's Top 40. There is a fella that calls himself the Professor of Rock that does videos almost every day. And the issue is with him, all of a sudden, he's starting to get copyright strikes because he's using snippets of audio from different bands. Because that's what he does. He talks about the different eras, and of course, he's really into the 70s and 80s for the most part, which is right up my alley. But the thing of it is he's started getting copyright strikes, and it's like, this is all under fair use. And there's another fellow by the name of Rick Beato, and he was saying that when he saw what the Professor of Rock put up, he had gotten in touch with him to tell him, hey, look, believe it or not, but I've got a guy that's all he does. Basically, 24/7, 365 is fight these stupid copyright strikes. And it was amazing to me to see, just like what happens with us, when somebody gets in trouble or has a problem, how much folks step up and start helping each other out. And that's exactly what happened in that part of the community too. It's like, it was really cool to see. It really, really was. Hey, Rusty. But yeah, it's, well, and Steve, it's not so much that the problem is that they're using, or he's going through and he's using like a 5 to 10 second spot. And and there's, like I said, there's a few others that do the same thing. And what it is it's some sort of a bot or some idiot out there that says, oh, he used 5 seconds of this, we need to charge him for it. And that's what, and the thing of it is that I think the more concerning part is the fact that YouTube's letting it happen. That's the problem, to me. It's not so much that there's a copyright strike because somebody wants money for a 5-second spot, and it's free advertising, for goodness sakes. Come on. Yeah, exactly. And I know that. And that's exactly what he talked about too. You know, that, oh my gosh, I get 3 strikes, my YouTube channel disappears. And, you know, and that's the reason why these guys are constantly, you know, like I said, Rick Beato basically told him, he said, look, he says, here's the name of the dude that fights him for me. and go from there. So, you know, like I said, I get it. I mean, it'd be something different if I was completely retransmitting the whole thing or something like that. I kind of understand that. But to use a 5-second spot, maybe if you, I don't know. Like I said, it's ridiculous. And that's exactly where I was going, Dave. That is exactly where I was headed, is the fact that, you know, here it is, you know, AI is out there stealing stuff from other creators and making their own stuff. And it's like, that's not right either. You know, it's, you know, it's, I don't know. It just, exactly. Exactly. Let's see. YouTube just legally has a pro, but YouTube does not. Exactly. And that's exactly what's happening in Opa Dodge. It's like I said, it's a shame that it comes down to having to get lawyers and everything else involved. It's just, to me, it's idiocracy. It really, really is. And I mean, it's, you know, so any rate, yeah, like I said, it was just one of those things. The bigger thing to me though was because of the fact that, you know, the commenting thing just disappeared, and it's like, great, you know, hey, Ron from the Southwest Railroad, welcome in. YouTube is lighting up, letting people use any music that hopefully they will relax on video. I would imagine at some point cooler heads have to prevail. You know, they have to, they have to, it has to, somewhere along the way, there has to be some middle ground that will satisfy all parties. And that's basically what has to happen. You know, I mean, like I said, I get it. You know, the record companies, the music companies, the worst part of it is, to me, is I think that these companies are claiming it, and the artists are probably not even seeing a penny of it. That's the thing that sucks. You know, that's the thing that really stinks to me. Not that I mean, here recently, not that I'm really supporting anything, but it's just, you know, here it is. I've got a job to do, you know, and if I do my job, I get paid. Great. You know, and if you're going to go ahead and start nickel and diming people for using 5-second spots, it's like, that's just a little ridiculous. Just a little ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing. I know that Brian from the Iron Horse route had told me the same thing. He says, when you run shorts, put it soft in the background. And I'm like, yeah, I'm only sitting at 700 subs. I'm not even over 1,000 yet. So it's like, yeah. So exactly. Oh yeah, I've stole. Yeah, sitting there waiting for the radio to go ahead and play the song that you wanted to record and hit the button. Yes, Dave has still got spots open for the dining car for the meet and greet in the middle of, or the end of August. Go check it out. Go check it out. Please help a fellow YouTuber. I can't get up there. Unfortunately. In fact, I'm going to get ready to go to bed. I got to get up early tomorrow morning. I'm going down to where we're taking our family from overseas down to Annapolis tomorrow morning. So, Ma&Pa Dodge, speaking of which, I told them about the areas that you model, and Mortz knows about Delmenhorst. He knows about Bremen, was not too sure about Delmenhorst. You have to remember he's from an area called Einthof, which is outside of Cologne. So I don't know how much of Germany he's actually seen. But, no, really, Steve? You had to go there, didn't you? Next thing you're going to know is you're going to see Sparky sending out Morse code here. Oh, jeez. Last time I had jury duty, it was a animal abuse case against a dog, and I was like, nope, I can't be a part of this. I've got a sister-in-law that's a part of a veterinary clinic, and I've rescued 2 dogs myself. Nope, I can't be here. I can't be impartial. They kicked me out. Seriously, I'm like, yeah, no. Nope. Yeah. There we go. There's Morse code. I'm going to leave it up there for a while. Annapolis, yes, Rail Artist. I'm going to be headed down. We're going to be headed down there tomorrow for about 4 or 5 hours. A friend of ours, actually one of the guys I bowl with, he does guided tours down there and dresses up in revolutionary garb. So these two from Germany have no idea what they're in for. Oh man, any rate. SOS, help, cash, SOS. So anyway, I do believe that next Sunday is the first Sunday of August, which means that we've got John number 2 over at the Schuylkill River Valley will be up. They handle that one. That is August the 3rd. So go and check him out. Obviously, I'm sure he's going to be working on his diorama some more. And then after that, I know if you actually watched the video from Friday, I had question marks for some of the dates in August, and that was because we really hadn't finalized the schedule for August. It's been a little ridiculous. But we do have it scheduled. We do have it now. It is up on the STS Facebook page, but just so that everybody is aware, August the 3rd is John number 2. August the 10th will be Dave over at DB Tech. August the 17th will be Bob over PK&W. August the 24th will be me. And then August 31st will be Brian, as far as I know. That is what we have set up for right now. So, any rate, that's what we've got at the moment. So, and like I said, I will be putting things up here probably in August about the train show in October. And I am going to talk to Chris over at the Baltimore Streetcar Museum and see what we can possibly work out for a Sunday meet and greet down at the Baltimore Streetcar Museum. And James is saying that he is live tomorrow night. I try to be live. John, John number 2 only has a year to finish the diorama. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Went to Oaks on Saturday. Very disappointed. Okay. I'm live 24/7. What, you trying to keep up with Jack Jack? Kind of like that house. Yeah, I know. I know. I don't know what to do with that, Grandpa Rails. I really don't. Oaks is not always great in the summer. Gotcha. All right, so there must have been a train show up there. I live too barely. Be nice if our names were clickable. You know, years ago they did that. Years ago they did that, and then they took it away. So I don't know. I don't know. It sucks. So, any rate, like I said, I'm going to call it a night. You all did. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. You all know the deal. Wait for the high ball. Green tracks ahead. We'll catch you all next time. Be safe. God bless. We will see ya. Stop.